This is the second part of operation risk. For the FRM part 2 exam, we are going to look at challenges and pitfall in measuring operational risk from loss data. Operation risk is very different than credit risk and market risk. The few observations that are large enough to measure extreme and rare operational risk event. In fact, these rare events are of such high magnitude that they dominate the sparse observation and thus represent a heavy tail distribution. Unfortunately, this makes the estimation of high quantile events imprecise. Further, there are so few observed events that even aggregating across bank that an unrealistic large number of events is needed for reasonable confidence interval. Other methods such as extreme value theorem and generalized Pareto distribution have been put forth to extrapolate beyond the data and estimate extreme tail loss event. The loss distribution approach is the most common method but suffers from strong assumption of statistical distribution. Ultimately, validating any model, let alone any model of this nature, is challenging. We now delve into the subject. One of the approved alternative under the Basel II AMA, or the advanced measurement approach, was to quantify operational risk, and the process is called the loss distribution approach. Under the loss distribution approach, capital requirements are determined based on historical loss suffered by the institution. The Basel Committee defines LDA as an estimate of loss distribution resulting from each business line and event type of operation risk. The distribution is constructed based on assumption of loss frequency and loss severity, which primarily comes from historical loss experience of the institution. Now, we discussed this in the previous topic, that operational risk data exchange or ORX database is a compilation of operational risk across business line for large banking firms. Within the client, products, business, practice, event type, retail, there are 7,000 observable aggregated from Simple Bank. So, heavy tail nature of this data is abundantly clear, as the largest 10 losses accompanies 44 of the total losses, and the 100 largest losses encompasses 75% of the total losses. Operational risk is measured at 99.9th percentile of the loss distribution. The standard is based on annual loss data, not a single loss event, and 99.9th percentile is equal to 1 in 1000 year catastrophic event. On the surface, this benchmark appears too conservative given that the bank have only collecting data for less than 20 years. Hence, the usability of this sample of worldwide observation is considerably small than the 1 in 1 of 10,000 empirical estimation. So, let's try to understand the nature of operational loss distributions. Before we discuss the statistical property and the problems of operational list data, it is useful to remind ourselves of the definition of operational losses. At the highest level, operational losses refer to losses attributed to people or failed process as opposed to macroeconomic influences like interest rate, credit events, counterparty risk. Some example of operation risk include fraud, computer downtown, and legal liabilities. The range of possible losses will vary from quite small and predictable, such as receiving incorrect change from cashier, to large unexpected events such as Nike lessons, rogue trade action, which resulted from in a failure of a bank, which is known as the Baring Bank. It was discussed in part 2. The important and challenging task is to model the large and infrequent losses, and that is the extreme event. Similar to all losses are referred as positive values, but the amount is an explicit loss. More formally, operational losses are described as heavy tail data. That is, the nature of loss distribution is that a single loss may be several times larger and even several magnitudes of order higher than the median loss. For example, if the median loss is in a 300 observation data set is 3000, the extreme loss may be 5 million. Clearly, the traditional mean and standard deviation concept is not appropriate for modeling heavy tail distribution. We have been looking at heavy tail distribution like log normal distribution, that is not an exponentially unbounded. On the other hand, the normal distribution is exponentially bounded and light tailed. So we can compare loss normal and normal distribution, and when we look at number of standard deviation in 2.33 we have 99 percentile in the normal, whereas for the log normal we have 94.5 percentile. So for the log normal 99.0 percentile we have to move to 7.2 standard deviation, which was 2.33. So these are the differences between log normal and normal distribution. So it's intuitive that the heavy tail distribution will go further and further into the extreme tail to reach the next observation. Now let's look at heavy tailed losses. The consequence of working with heavy tailed losses is that they are tough to model, and the wide array of operational losses across the business life is characterized by heavy tail distribution. And the problem is that because it's relatively rare, indeed a single event can dominate the sample estimation property, especially the heavy tail nature of data causes three problems. First is instability of estimate, dominance of sum, and dominance of mixtures. Let's look at what are these three. The difference between the mean and the variance of a distribution can be dramatically different from including just a single large extreme loss, hence the sample statistic will be quite volatile. So that's the instability of estimate. Dominance of sum, within the sample process the large few may account for 50% or more of the total losses, hence total is driven by relatively few observation. Then there is dominant of mixture. So if we consider two processes, one is heavy tailed and other is light tailed. If two processes are aggregated, then it is clear that heavy tail distribution will overwhelm the stable properties of light tail distribution. So it is not uncommon for single large loss to account for majority of total losses across the entire financial institution. So that's dominant of mixtures. Now let's look at loss distribution data requirement. We are now going to look at the amount of data required to estimate percentile of loss distribution. It should be clear from the previous discussion that we have been doing in the last 5 minutes that estimating tail loss provide less precise relative to well behaved distribution such as normal, and the larger sample size are needed to estimate high quantile with reasonable bounds. The standard error for non-parametric estimator is given by an equation where we have 1 upon f, a function of q, into p into 1 minus p divided by n, and the under root of this term numerator denominator. So we have a few inputs here: the probability density function, the quantile associated with the probability p, and sample size n. So for this mathematical part you need to understand that the standard error is dependent on the probability density function of the quantile associated, and also the probability that we are looking at, and n. So density function, probability, and sample size are few things that is going to use to calculate standard error. So if we consider a quantile of 99%, the probability density function where we think vertical height of distribution would be very small, so the effect of numerator is to significantly increases the estimator. So if we look at high probability, this increases loss. If we increase the n, this decreases loss. If we increase if we bring down the probability, if we increase the probability, then the error decreases. So if rather than going for 99.9, if we go for 95, then it the standard error decreases. If we increase the number of observations, the standard error decreases. So that's how we are going to look at it. So if we look at an example and where we are using simulated data to estimate 0.999 quantile for both heavy tail and light distribution. One thing is quite obvious intuitively, that the standard error of the heavy tailed would be higher, and but it also depends on the large sample size. So uh, if we look at an estimator of heavy tailed, and we look for the same quantile, that is 99.9%, and if we have n as like 2 million or 2.7 million versus 8,000 for light tail, to get an estimated error of 10% or less. So this is the data requirement. If it's a very heavy tail, we need huge data if you are trying to fit it in the light tail distribution. Or for the same estimate of 10%, we require a higher number of reading for heavy tail. So not just that we have a data problem, heavy tail taking itself require a large number of observation. Let's look at methods of extrapolating beyond the data points, and this is quite important and interesting. The limited amount of operational data necessitates extrapolation beyond the sparse data points. Non-parametric methods like historical simulation are not appropriate because the observation points provide no guidance beyond the largest realization. Hence, a parametric model is needed, and the choice depends on underlying assumption of loss generating process. There are three assumptions for generating loss data. The first is single loss generating mechanism is assumed for all losses regardless of source, that is business line institution. There are several underlying loss generation mechanisms, but some are more likely to yield extreme event. The extreme event are not drawn from a known distribution and or do not affect the pattern of estimation. So these are the three methods to generate loss data. It would be preferable if the data follow process 1, which was a single loss generating estimate is assumed for all lines, but this is unlikely in real world, but makes the model tractable enough to generally estimate values beyond the limited data. It is common to use extreme value distribution in these cases, and if you remember, that was a part of a market risk. I think it was the fourth part. So it's more realistic to believe that the data arises from process 2 or process 3. I am going to repeat it for you. So there are several underlying loss generation mechanisms, but some of them are likely to yield extreme event. And extreme events are not drawn from a known distribution, and they don't offer a pattern for estimation. So consider the broad classification of operational loss data comprises of many varied across ranging from fraud to regulatory fines to lawsuits, which are not likely drawn from a single distribution. Even if we believe that the data drawn from a single loss generating mechanism, statistical problems may still arise. First, there is surely a time varying nature to loss processes. Secondly, banking sector is dynamic. Firms are expected to merge, divest, assign, rein division, restructure and learn from losses on their own and other institutions. In addition, exogenous change in technology, regulation, information transfer may create safer banks, fundamentally changing the risk factor. As a final consideration, EVD models will predict unbounded estimate of extreme losses, but there are hard limits ceiling to bank exposure such as size of underwriting losses and offering. So EVD will predict unbounded estimate of extreme losses. Mathematically, there is support for modeling extreme event by both EVT and generalized Pareto distribution. EVT examines the asymptotic properties and distribution of extreme events similar to central limit theorem asymptotic prediction for sample mean. Nevertheless, EVT should be applied if the available data generally adheres to statistical process 1. And process 1 board that a single loss generating mechanism is assumed for all sources regardless of their source business line institution. GPD are flexible family of distribution. They are described by tail parameters. If the data can reliably estimate the tail parameter distribution beyond the threshold will follow GPD. If we use an ORX data, anonymously largest loss reported to estimate GPD and log normal process, the result indicates that both estimates can vary close to each other up to 100 million euro. However, the two models differ significantly for expected losses beyond 100 million euro. Now this is very important because we have something called the ORX data, which is the enormously reported large losses. Now this is some kind of a research topic, and I read it that we can have a secure multi-party computation. This is not in the FRM, but I was just reading the new part that we have added here, which was for the risk of high frequency trading and algorithmic trading, where if you want to find out the risk, then you can use this enormously reported data uh, for the trades for the last 1 hour, and you can find out the loss or strategy or a breach point where you should not take more risk. So that was one part. Now we move to the second last heading in modeling operation risk losses, and we'll look at how to explain the loss distribution approach to model operation risk losses. So now we will consider the aggregation of losses as mandated by Basel Committee to estimate annual loss for the entire bank. The easiest way to do this is to assume each loss distribution is independent and identically distributed. Further, the frequency is drawn from discrete distributions such as Poisson or negative binomial. Annual losses unit of measure I are found in the following terms, where we sum all the losses from j equal to 1 to n. The total losses of the entire book are then added. The loss distribution can now be estimated using Monte Carlo method. Although this is most widely implemented model, it is not without the shortcomings. The assumption of independence implies that the underlying distribution component are static when they are surely time varying. In addition, external factors which simultaneously affect all bank are possible, such as regulation, implementation, changes in exchange rate, and other economic factor. So we might take some factors or some losses which are due to systematic change of rules and not due to loss or operational loss kind of a thing. The last heading is validating model result. Now there are many challenges in validating capital models. If we remember, all models, no matter how impressive they predict, are still models. This is an abstract form of reality that needs external verification. Therefore, it is important to vet and test the model, particularly for policy-oriented issues such as capital allocation for operation risk. But the reality is that data is so sparse that estimates are very sensitive, including or removing even a single observation can cause great movement in the data. So it's not possible to adequately judge the data ability of a model based on existing observation, or it is practical to wait for additional annual observation across several banks to approach 1000 year mark to fit 99.9 percentile Basel mandate. Further, if such data is available, it should raise the question that the aggregation procedure and consistency of data. Hence, it appears that we are at an impasse except for a good old fashioned common sense. So there are a lot of challenge here, but still things are working. In the next part, we are going to look at principles for sound management of operation risk. So we discussed about 5 things here. I'm going to quickly revise you so that you help to remember that. I'm going to start from the down, validating model return results. So model validation is necessary to test the integrity of model and its prediction. Unfortunately, the amount of necessary data to reliable test to 99.9 percentile does not exist. Loss distribution assume independently and identically distributed variable across all business line. The total distribution is the sum of business line expenses, which itself is the sum of sum within each business line. EVT and GPD, that is extreme value theorem and general Pareto distribution, are both valid modeling choices for extreme losses and tail events. EVT involves asymptotic properties of tails, while GPD estimates a tail parameter to generate a distribution beyond a threshold level of the extreme values. Heavy tail generated significantly larger standard errors of the extreme quantile estimate. Analogously, the confidence interval are significantly larger if they are not for light-tailed, all else equal. So that was all in the challenges and pitfall in measuring operation risk from loss data. I hope this added something to your current knowledge base. Thank you for listening.